do we look at food as an object? Maybe a lot of us. Am I guilty of that? Probably to some extent, you know. I want to have these conversations because I'm genuinely interested, but do I make the time to properly connect with the food I eat? I probably don't. So no.
Yeah, food is like to me like food is a way to connect with nature, and I suppose like every like a realization that I had was that like everything is edible to something, so and it was like it was through thinking about fungi that I realized that it's like eventually everything is edible to something eventually.
Yeah.
And
Everything, even like hard materials and stuff, because the environment will just eat them up.
yeah, like okay, so like heavy metals can't
Yeah.
be broken down, but like
The
it
environment.
could be digested, and
Yes.
yeah, and
So everything's
uh,
edible, yeah.
and I suppose it's just like looking at food uh as part of the natural world, and how like everything has to like interact with the world to be able to get food. Whether you're a worm or you're a bird or you're a whale, like, where humans are no exception. And so it's the nature of the relationships that we have that um that are important, so are we going to the supermarket to get like loads of food that's like wrapped in plastic, that's like highly processed, like ultra processed food, or do we have a diversity of relationships with local growers? Are we going out to like forage nettles to make nettle soup? Like there's it's like looking at how we are interacting with our environment and our lives that that maybe are going to tell us about our relationship with food.
Mm. What has been the change for you then since you would have changed your relationship with the food that you eat? Because I assume there was a point in time that that wasn't your way, or maybe it was.
Yeah, I suppose it is actually something I've kind of been interested in for a long time. So like I turned vegetarian when I was 7.
Well, that was,
I
how
just
did you
realized
decide at that age?
I
I thought you were going to say
I did
17.
no, like I did have some influences. Like I had like a friend who had vegetarian parents. My older sister was experimenting with being vegetarian and stuff, and but yeah, I think I just started to realize what it was, and my discomfort was that I didn't know. I didn't know enough, so yeah, people said it was a phase, but it wasn't a phase. Like
So it was like the animals that you were conscious of that we were eating.
yeah, yeah, that was my 7-year-old mind at the time.
How did you even think of that at 7? That's, I mean,
Yeah, so
fair play.
I think like that's where it started. And yeah, like my father was a wholesale fruit and veg wholesaler. So I would see like big boxes of vegetables come into the house regularly. And so there wasn't this thing where it was like you had to go to the supermarket to get things. I was like being able to join the dots from a young age. And then I was really interested in biology and psychology and health, and I like by the time I'd done my undergraduate in biology and psychology, and then by the time I got to the other side of that, I was still like sitting thinking like, what am I really interested in? So I remember there was one day I was on Skype to one of my friends. I was just like, yeah, I'm in my mid-20s. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And I was like, but you see this banana? And I was like, holding the banana. Like this banana, I want to know like where this banana came from. I want to know why this banana exists. I want to know everything about this banana. Like I want to get into like food policy or something like that. That's the kind of direction that I wanted to go in. And and then I started looking it up, and I realized that you could actually do a master's degree in food policy, but that was in London. I didn't want to live in London, so I decided to stay in Edinburgh, and I found a master's called food security. And yeah, it wasn't really like food security, the actual
Yeah.
word itself kind of
What
threw
is
me off at
food
the time.
security?
Food security is a term that is used to talk about how we need, like, this is the thing, like, food security can be a problematic term, because it's talking about, like, does a population have enough food? And it's like, well, who decides? And like going into like who decides how to secure a population's food? Like there's in the term food security, there's already signs of issues around like power structures, and that's why I've been more captivated by the term food sovereignty, because that is addressing like the power structures. So
When you say power structures,
yeah, so have you heard of like say like a food desert?
no.
Right. So food desert is defined as an area, place that doesn't have any food. So would you say that it's because, okay, that area doesn't have any food because no supermarket has been put there? Or would you say that an area doesn't have any food because the people in the community that live there haven't got the power or the circumstances to be able to make decisions to produce food in that area for that community? So it's just about like who decides how secure your food is.
And in your local area?
Yeah.
Because well, I'm also thinking about your question because you kind of asked me to. Um, so sometimes people may open a store. You live there. There might be maybe some people don't want to do that. Maybe some people don't have the capacity. Or then also there could be a supermarket that may open there or may not open there. It may look at it. Maybe it's not a good opportunity. Um, that's what I'm kind of thinking about when you say food desert or that area.
Yeah, yeah, but I guess it just depends, like, what if someone opens a store, who owns the store, where are they getting their food from? You know, like what are the principles that they're sourcing their food on? Like is it about like supporting local farmers to look after the soil and produce food? Or is it about getting the cheapest food at the lowest price from anywhere so that you can increase your margins?
Which is mainly what is how our countries are run predominantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's why food security as a term is obviously it's like the idea of having a secure food source is great, but saying that you're going to come into a place and I am going to secure your food for you isn't it doesn't appeal to me as much. So when I did the masters in food security, like I was like reading through the different modules and I was like, oh, like interrelations in food systems, and I was like, this is going to be a great opportunity for me to like get in touch with the complexity of of food systems, of what even are systems. And I like that masters really got me in touch with like the problem. I think, which, yeah, I was like, now I know, okay, now I understand the problem a lot
And
more deeply.
what would you say the problem is?
Is ultimately power structures and disrespect for the earth, and um uh not
But who like
seeing, yeah.
the power structures, as in like who are the power structures in that sense? Like
Like just recently, like one of the biggest carrot producers in Ireland closed down. Like it was huge carrot uh production for, like, yeah, it was like massive. And so like the price of carrots had been going down despite inflation. So eventually, like you're going to go out of business, and it's like, why, like, if you want to look at power structures, it's like, why was that farm not empowered to stay open? And we already import so much of our food, or like just like the community. Okay, so like in Ireland, there is a food movement happening, and there's a every year in Jordan, there's a weekend called Feeding Ourselves. Like all the different farmers, like organizations, like one called like Talamh Bio, which is like a farmer-led network addressing issues around food and farming in Ireland.
Where's that?
Um
I've been to an event.
in Tipperary.
I don't know, maybe Limerick. Those nuts.
Oh yeah, knots. Yeah, there's knots as well. So like yeah, so you have you have Seal Creek, the organization in Monaghan that I work with. You've got Talamh Bio, you've got the Clock Jordan, the Eco Village crowd. Um, you've got lots of different organizations all over Ireland, and they are like working to try and make farming like a good livelihood for people in Ireland, for that farming to be grounded in uh like respecting nature and working with nature and understanding natural cycles to be able to produce like healthy food.